Good morning. It is day 19. Last night was a lot better sleep. I had to walk a little bit further to make sure I was in shelter, but it was well worth it. So yesterday was the mega hill. It was a never-ending downhill. You just never seemed to get closer despite how far you were going. I think it took 5.5 hours to get down that hill, which is the longest continuous downhill I've done. From the downhill, there was then a flat bit in the, and by the way, high winds all day. There was a flat bit in the wind, and then the last almost mile, probably half mile, was in a dry stream bed with sand being blasted into my face. So it was a free exfoliation. Boy, that was hard. Hard work against the wind and into the sand. Then we got to an underpass and there was some trail magic. I pigged out. I had 3 hot dogs, several plates of chips and some banana cake, and another cold fizzy drink. Oh, it was magic. After that hard morning, the downhill and the wind and the exfoliation, wow, it was amazing. So thank you to Dina and Mama Bear. You guys just do such great work for morale. So I left there after quite a long time. I left about 3, and DNA had told me that there was it would be sheltered from the wind when you got down to the river, and that was 7-8 miles, so a lot further than I wanted to go, but relatively easy. But once again, the last part that was meant to be downhill was mainly uphill. Took ages. There's a guy just in front. He stopped, still up on the tops, worried about getting dark, but I pushed on, found a lovely spot, nice and sheltered. Just as I set my tent up, it started a light rain, but it was just, less than a minute. Went away, came back, so a couple of times it splattered, but not much. And woke up to beautiful blue skies. Had a wonderful sleep, probably the best sleep since I've been here. Didn't really wake up until 5, and then went back to sleep again. So, much more organised start. I was able to pack everything up nicely. There's a whole lot of sand still in my tent, so I gave it a good clean out. Now I'm on my way. There's a big river crossing coming up, and after that there's nothing specific, just going through all this beautiful country. So, another good day. Actually quite a big group of hikers where I was. They camped out on the river. I was so tired, I didn't want to socialise, so I didn't even say hi. I just set my tent up before I got to them. But it means there'll be a few people on the trail today. It's quite nice on the valley bottom, quite wide paths. Sometimes it's a little sandy, but pretty nice walking. Good way to start the day. Surprisingly, after yesterday's long day and long downhill, my body's feeling pretty good. I did pick up a new blister yesterday on the edge of the ball of my foot, which is a first. So I think my inner soles may have been positioned wrong when I put them back in after emptying down all the dust. So I'll put a Compi blister patch over it. We've got a river crossing soon, so I might have to redo that one. But apart from that, energy seems alright. Legs are good, but I'm still, this is week 3, so this is maximum 20 miles, disregard yesterday, at an easy pace. Next week in week 4, then I can pick the pace up a little bit, and then from then, week 5, it's unrestricted, whatever my body feels like doing. So still an easy pace at the moment. Now it's the river crossing. Shoes off. here? There's either one down there or there's one up there. Completed the river crossing, and now getting back on the track. There's a large group of people there, and very concerning that none of them know how to read a river when they're trying to find places to cross. And then they had an older guy giving them directions, which was not what I would have recommended with my river experience. Yeah, I like to cross where it's wider and shallower, and looking for obstructions and that. And yeah, they had a different technique. But yeah, there'll be plenty of rivers to practice on this year, and hopefully they will get a bit of experience and learn what to do. It's pretty cool wandering along the flats, and then we're going to start climbing, and today is a lot of climbing, which is good because it'll be a nice change from yesterday's downhill. Hey, snow up there. I'm not going up there. We don't go that high. Here you go, Yeager of the day. So I finally found my way through the maze. There were footprints, lots and lots of footprints, which made it look like the main track going off in a different direction. But I spied a marker post, so I headed back across, and yeah, I don't know where those footprints were going, but it wasn't the trail. So nice to be back on a nice clear trail, and now the climbing begins. Still lots of flowers, all the pom-poms along this one, and this lovely grass. Wow, still beautiful. So fortunate to be here while it's nice and green. Just flowers everywhere. Oh, look at that, purple and white. Woo. And a big hill in front of me. Looking back, that's the river valley I've just on. Been climbing this track, and I love it when you get to places like this where you can just see big hills in front of you, and you're always wondering, where's the track gonna go? Yeah, this time it's actually not easy to see. I can see, apparently the guy's called Wolverine who passed me yesterday. He's up on the ridge line, so it's probably gonna zigzag up somewhere there. That's the hill I zigzagged down to get to my camping spot, which is about there. So I was around the back of those hills, and that ridge line is full of ridge. Whew. Nearly at the top. These smell nice. They got, looks like flowers within flowers. How cute. I'm dropping down into another valley. Trail's in quite nice condition, a few little rocks over it, but pretty good. So I'm assuming we'll be in the valley and then climb again. Or another junction. So I'm going straight. I wonder which direction the outlook is. Lucky dip. It's a mystery. Yesterday it was the yellow hills everywhere. Today the hills have got a purple tinge from these cute little purple flowers. So you can see down this valley it's got a purple tinge, and that is Mount San Gorgonio. Sorry about the pronunciation, something like that. Pretty anyway. Alright, but I'm heading that way up the valley. Just saw my first snake of the day. Can't see it anymore. It was a tan colour, quite skinny, and probably about 70 centimetres long. It wasn't a rattler. Here's another big one. So going along, down, then going to end up coming back right above where I am now. Ah, what a beautiful view behind. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. So looking back towards Fuller Ridge, done a big dog leg. That's the river where I was. You can see the trail winding through the valley. Then it came across on the other side of that hill, which is where I took the last photo. But wow, this is just so beautiful. Did a lot of climbing, but it just didn't feel like a lot of climbing. So really neat. Do another panorama. So actually switched back even more, once more on top of the ridge, but wow. I thought I'd seen a lot of the PCT in videos, but it's so much that I hadn't seen, so much that is new and exciting. It's just beautiful. That would have been uncomfortable coming back down. Oh, you can camp up here. Nice. Now it's a big drop all the way down to the river. Sort of make it out way down there. It's a big drop. That's a beautiful view. There's the river down there. So we're switchbacking, but it's nice tight switchbacks, unlike yesterday's meandering switchbacks that went all over the mountain. Like this grass beside, especially when the wind blows. You just see it moving and rippling. It's beautiful. I should be blasé about the flowers by now, but I'm not. And especially here, beautiful, beautiful smell coming down this part. Must be boring coming on a normal year when this is all just dry and brown. Mind you, I'd probably make quicker progress because I wouldn't be stopping to take photos so often. Down the hill is the junction, but a nice clear post. And now we're down in the river valley. Woohoo! So it's only a few hundred meters and across the river, and I'll be getting some water because I've just about run out. Perfect timing. The trail is now going to be following this river for about 12 miles. So no worries about water, that's for sure. I'll be climbing a bit, but not too bad. So it looks like the rest of the day is going to be quite neat. A healthy yucca, and now there's this vine which is slowly taking over the yucca, absolutely covering it. With all the flooding, that the track that we're walking looks very different from last year's track. We'll step up back on until we get to the next washed out part. It's made a little bridge across, marker pole, but it looks like it's been washed out where the track is. So I'm just staying on this side and I'll follow along until I start to pick up a track again. I think I'm actually going to be crossing this river a lot, so now I'm just going with wet feet. That's nice, someone put some cans up. That bit was fun. That was like being back in New Zealand. It's probably going to put a few people off because there's no track. So, you know, you have to keep heading upriver. So you just find your own way and trust that eventually you'll find the track again. I wasn't going to stuff around. That was, I think, 6 stream crossings altogether. So I just went straight through them. So my feet are wet, but I'm actually going to be taking a lunch break soon. So they'll probably be dry by the time I finish that. If there's not more of this, yeah, good adventure. This is my nice shady picnic spot, and it had a nice seat as well. Just had a couple of tortillas and some lollies, and now back to the river. This track is so funny. You can have beautiful flat smooth trail 1 minute, and then when you're not anywhere near the river, then you're up on rocks and climbing banks and scrambling over logs and boulders. It's good fun. I like this. A lot of variety today. Really good example of just how much water damage there was from the track. Yeah, it's good. Wow, all the damage. That must have, I'm glad we weren't going through when the rains were here. That would have been absolutely terrifying. That's where a lot of people will cross, but that's an incredibly dangerous crossing point. There's too many places that your legs can get caught in. So I'm actually going to go up, even though the bank will be harder to get up. The water is easier to cross up here. Black and white. Now I really must be in New Zealand. Mud! Rough tracks and mud. It's just like home. Wow, who would have thought? Mud in the desert. Oh wow, this is fun. I'm not sure other people think it's fun. Just before lunch I caught up to a Korean, and he wasn't looking happy. He was pretty much glued to his phone, looking very confused at why the track wasn't where it's meant to be. So I said to him, you know, follow me if he's not sure, but no, he was wedded to his gut hooks on his phone, and didn't matter what was happening, he was following that track. That's one issue. Gut hooks is fantastic, having it on your phone, but it means people, number one, some of them don't know how to navigate. Number two, can't think logically that, you know, we're following the river for 12 miles. Maybe if I can't see a track, I just walk up the river and keep looking and I'll find it again. But I think PCT does spoil you because the tracks are just so good for most of it. It's just a couple of areas where it's washed out. Good morning, and hopefully the rest of my afternoon will go well. I am very sad at the moment. You'll notice I'm wearing a different hat. My hat has just been sacrificed to the river. So it's been really calm. There's been no gusts of wind, so I haven't had my chin strap on my hat. And then just as I was approaching a stream crossing, this huge gust of wind took my hat off directly into the water. And this is the fast flowing stream. I ran across these rough rocks for about 5 meters. Then I had to cross the stream I tried it, I went another couple of meters and I just watched the hat disappearing. I took my pack off and followed the river for probably another 30 meters, hoping there might be a strainer or an eddy or something, but no, that river is moving pretty fast and my hat is gone. That hat, I wore it all through Norway. It's 2,000 kilometers in Norway and it was the perfect size. The brim was the perfect stiffness. I have a small head, so I have trouble finding hats that fit. So that was a Kathmandu children's hat, and that RIP, enjoy your ride down that river. So Big Bear, I'm going to need to try and get a wide brim hat, because this is my hat for really windy or for when it's wet, but it doesn't give enough coverage of my ears and the back of my neck. I'm sad. I like that hat. Still heading up the valley. I just ran into Beth and Jerry, who I last saw on day 8, coming out of Scissors Crossing. Thankfully Beth's feet are much better. She's got different shoes, bigger shoes, and the blisters are healing. They're going to be camping back there, so I have said goodbye, but I'll probably bump into them again. And then there was a guy coming from a really strange direction, bashing out of the bush, so pointed him back on the right track, so he's coming along behind me now. Entering San Bernardino National Forest. Whew. So I'm just looking for the next water source. I'm going to fill up and then I'm going to look for somewhere to camp. It's starting to get a bit tired. I think this is the most people I've camped with, but it's the perfect distance. I sure didn't want to go any further.